Morning, my loves. How are we? Oh, I feel like the shoelace is coming undone already. Disaster. Straight in with a disaster. Now, I'm going to do the shoelace up before we start. Now, I hope you're all well. Here we go. Shoelace done. Marvellous. Now, so, morning from the curtains, naturally. Let's do that. Let's have a look there. We're on. Let's do that. Get up to speed. Get rid of that. And we'll get rid of that. And we'll get rid of all that. Oops, hang on, do that. Nothing like being prepared, is there? And this is an example of exactly that. Right, here we go. Marvellous, we're in. Morning all, morning my loves. And yes, Stephen, thank you very much for you from the curtains. We're going to be doing waltz today. Now, I've got a question from Elizabeth has asked, can we do the weave? Now, Elizabeth, we can do the weave because it's not too difficult to step, but it's different in what we've done before. Waltz, traditionally, you invariably close your feet. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3. You see, this is a closed foot dance, if you like. This is what gives its rise, whoop, and fall, whoop, up, down, up. The peaked rise and fall of the waltz. The foxtrot, on the other hand, is what we call a passing foot dance. So the feet pass, they rarely close. And much more progressive, the rise and fall is less. It's much more sort of smooth and it doesn't go up as high. Of course, you're not closing your feet, don't have to go as high. But the weave is a passing foot dance, a passing foot variation. So we don't close our feet during any of it. So it's a little bit foxtrotty, although it's a waltz variation. And the reason it was called the weave, because when the people were sitting on the edge of the floor watching the dancers dancing, before the technique was written about ballroom dancing was already being done, before somebody standardised it and said, let's make a note of all this because it'd be interesting to be able to teach it. So somebody would write down, rumour has it was a man called Alex Moore actually, and would write down what was being danced by the sort of the best dancers or most popular steps were being danced of the day, and then they would standardise them. So if somebody wanted to learn, what's that step such and such is doing? Oh, it's this step here, and off he goes, the weave. And the thing about the weave was it looked like the feet were weaving together as they moved across the floor. Now, I thought it was rather nice, and it sounds perfectly plausible to me, because if you were watching this and from the side you saw the two bodies moving across the floor, the feet do sort of crisscross each other as they go, and that's because when I step forward, the lady steps back and my foot will be either directly underneath her and vice versa, of course, or outside partner, which we discussed before. If this is your first time today, by the way, welcome, lovely to have you along doing the waltz. Now the waltz variation starts from a promenade position. So if we just go from that position, and we'll do either after or another time ways to get into promenade position. So I'm going to do the boys' steps first. And the question also Elizabeth asked is, I get a bit confused on the direction in the room. Ideally, you'd go down the room, you'd make it progressive, and it would just move down the room. Now, if I dance this, I'm going to go out a shot here, but I'll sneak up here. I'll just do it very briefly, or very quickly, so you just get the idea of the direction. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and I go 4, and I'm out of shot. But you can see that it moves down the room. Now, as I demonstrated to you, I'm going to do it across here, and then I'm going to move back over here, so I stay a bit more in shot. So I put a bit of a curve into it, but it doesn't alter the step pattern. So, boys, as you saw, it's 6 steps, and I start with my right foot. So I'm here, up against the curtains, and I'm going to step forward in promenade with my right foot. I then step forward with my left foot, and the rise and fall is the same as normal, heel, toe, toe, lower, heel, toe, toe, lower. So I've gone the first step's on the heel. Second step's going to go on the toe, and I'm just going to step forward, but I'm going to start to turn. So if this is my partner in front of me here, what I do is I start to turn. See that? Here we go, to there. Now, forward step on a toe. As I step the third step, I'm stepping, it ends up backwards, but it swings forward and ends up backwards here like this for step 3. Make sense? So I go and 3. Now from there I go backwards for 4, I go backwards for 5, and I step to the side for 6. Now I can end the step either in what we call closed position, which is normal ballroom position, or in promenade. And I could repeat this variation if I so wished. Does that make sense? Let me do that again. Here we go. And forward, forward but turning, continue to turn, step back. I carry on straight back, and I finish the last bit of turn, the step to the side for step number 6. I'm a bit close now, you probably only get to see half my body. How does that sound to you? Does that sound like it makes a bit of sense? Not a massive fan of the waltz, but it makes it interesting. Well, thank you, Michelle. I think sometimes the waltz music can be a bit melancholic, and so it gets a bit. Ooh. See, I think if you find some good music for waltz, waltz is actually a lovely dance too, because you do lots of spins and pivots and stuff, and weaves. So it can be an interesting dance. So Gillian, gotcha. So let's do that again, one more time. So it's just the boys. I'm going to do the girls in a second. So I go forward, right foot, forward, left foot with turn, step backwards with the right foot. I go back with the left, back with the right, 2 straight steps, and I step to the side with the left foot, either in promenade or in closed position. That's determined by how much turn I do through the shoulders, essentially, determine the direction of the leg. So, ladies, the important bit. So, we start with our left foot. I go forward in promenade, like that, on a heel. Now, this is the tricky bit here. This is the most difficult part of it, because I've got quite a lot of turn to make. Now the boy's stepping forward with his left foot at this point. I'm going to step forward with my right foot, but I'm going to step forward and across him. So I have to go like this. 2. So that's quite a big step. But then I carry on to 3. So I have to do quite a lot of turn over 2 steps for the girls. So I swing forward turning. When we say forward turn, so this is forward, and this is forward turning. So it starts swinging forward but ends up in a different direction. Does that make sense? So if I didn't turn, it would just go forwards. But what I don't want to do is turn and step, because that becomes a backward step and I haven't gone anywhere. That's the disaster of this step, is when you only turn, because you know you've got to turn, but you miss out the movey forwardy bit. Now that's where the man's job is really important, because he stepped forward with his right foot. As I step forward onto my left foot, it's my job to lead the lady here, over there. Now you can, or you can, lovely. I think that's very clear. So you get the idea. So the turn of the boy, by the boy, or the person leading, I keep calling it the boy, but it's whoever's leading. Because they've got hold of the partner in this fashion, hand round the back, hand here, it's my job to do the leady bit. And so, ladies or followers, when you get to that point there, here, and you start to swing forwards and turning, give it a bit. So you go whoop, here, here. So you do 2 steps like that. Make sense? Forward turning with the right foot, continue to turn, step forward with the left foot. Forward turning with the right foot, continue to turn, step forward with the left foot. So it's all basically forward steps. If you think about it as being all forward steps, but with turn, you won't go wrong. So there are no backward steps. So even if you feel like you're going to be going backwards, you're sort of not really. It's just that you're turning. It makes you end up backwards. Does that make sense? Ooh, it gets complicated when you start using language like that. It's all a little bit abstract, but I think you know what I mean. So girls, you go forward and turn, keep turning, step forward on the left foot. And I'm going to go in this direction. You do forward step with the right foot, forward step with the left foot, and then step to the side with the right foot, or just step forward again with the right foot, depending whether you're going to finish in promenade position or going backwards in closed position. So it's either a forward or a sideways step at the end. You choose how you dance, your routine. It's up to you entirely. The imaginary hair in the eyes. Now, there's one important little thing that we have to know as a lady dancer. is that on step 4, I'm stepping forward with my right foot, outside partner. Now, do you remember we discussed outside partner? If this is your first time, what we mean by outside partner is this. When I'm in closed position, I'm standing in front of or in normal hold with my partner. Ladies are here, boys are here, well actually here like this. Our feet are lined up thus, because we're offset, we're not stood right in front of each other, we're just offset. This side of my tie is for the lady, this side of my tie, handkerchief, see? And if you do that properly, the lady's right toe will be lined up between my toes and my right toe will be lined up between her toes. So if I take a step forward with my right foot, I'll just go between her feet. That's normal, that's closed position. Normal position in line. If I step forward with my right foot and I want to go outside partner, I step outside her right foot. Rather than between her feet, I go to the outside of her right foot. And vice versa, for boy and girl. So ladies, you've gone 1, 2, 3. As you step forward here with the right foot here, the boy's stepping backwards with the left foot. His right foot's there, right in front of him. You have to step, it's not moving. You have to step outside it. So you go to the right of it. Your left. Alright? And then I step forward with my left foot, just normal, because he'll have been moving his right foot, and then we're back sort of what we call in line. And then we finish with the last step either to the side or forward in promenade, depending what you want to do. You can do a lovely chassé after the end of that weave, if you so wish. Comprenez-vous? Does that make any sense? Any questions about that? Deborah, I'm loving this. Claire, it's so good, I love it. Can't help it, I do. Elizabeth, it is my absolute pleasure. MJB, if I was dancing this with anyone, I'd probably fall over them though. Well, you'll be alright as long as you don't try to go in line when you should be going outside. Frankie, it's 3/8 turn for 3 steps, Gillian. Thank you, Frankie. That's much clearer. Elaine, do I have an opinion on Alex Moore versus Guy Howard when studying technique? And could you explain CBMP? Thanks. Yes, I can. Do I have an opinion about it? Not really. They're pretty similar, really. They use words, if anybody's looked at these things. One will say commence to turn, one will say start to turn. There's little sort of language differences, but essentially I think the technique remains about the same. The thing about ballroom dancing is, it is what it is because you're in hold. So there's an element of sort of physics about it as well. You can only do a certain amount of turn because otherwise you'll spin off your partner because you're so close. In Latin American dancing, of course, because you're apart from each other, you can sort of, the world's your oyster, really. Anything goes. You've got a free arm, you can do what you like, you can position anything in the room that you want to do. It sort of has a bit more freedom about it. Ballroom dancing is there's only so much I can do. I can only do this variation this way because I've got my left foot available. I can only turn this much when turning left because the lady's on my right hand side. I could probably do a bit more going to the right because the lady's on my right hand. So there's all those sort of things that that make ballroom dancing possible or not possible. So things like this, for example, when I'm taking the weave, it's really important I do as much turn with this second step for the girls. So girls, boys, you must lead the lady as far across the room as you can get her to go, and girls, you must go as far as you can go, because if I do a little bit too not enough, I'll only end up to there. Well, in this room that's fine because then I can go over here. But if I'm dancing in a ballroom and I want to go down towards you, for example, here, if I don't do enough turn here, I can't go here with this left foot. I can only manage to go here. Now it's impossible for me to go over here because otherwise the girls, we have a disaster. So in ballroom dancing, the positions of the body dictates what I'm able to do and how much I'm able to do. So where you set yourself up to go is vitally important. We're getting a bit technical now, I apologise. But the language is pretty much the same in the two books. They're both very good. Whichever one you can sort of understand a bit more. CBMP really only relates to, it's called contra body movement position, and it relates to what the foot does. So it's the position of the foot in relation to the body. CBMP, it relates to the body, and CBMP refers to the foot position, which means basically the fourth step of the weave for the lady when she's stepping forward would be forward right foot in CBMP. So which means I step across myself. So did you see that? Can I show you that? This is a little bit of technique. So if I'm usually my feet are on what we might call two tracks here, on two railway tracks or two floorboards here like this. If I step normally, I would just keep going along those two tracks. If I step forward in CBMP, what I essentially means I'm going to take my right foot and put it on the same floorboard or track as the other foot. So I've stepped across my own path. What that does, it gives me a leading left shoulder without turning my body and a leading right foot. If I step forward on one track, I'm flat, I have no leading side. You wouldn't really ever do that actually. You'll always have one side forward or backwards because you're wanting to turn basically every step. So this step here is forward CBMP, so CBM part refers to the body, but the P part refers to the foot position in relation to the body. So I've got right foot forward in CBMP, and then I just go forward, now I'm flat, and I go forward in promenade or closed position. So that's really a very, well, I wasn't say brief, but it is accurate. That's all there is to say about it, really, CBMP. But yeah, there you go. Guy Howard and Alex Moore, they're both marvellous. I think you've changed my opinion on the walls. Oh, Michelle, yes, I'm so pleased about that. Deborah, the ladies have to lean far back and twist their necks. It always looks very uncomfortable. Why does this happen? Does this cause injuries? Well, it does if it hurts and you do it wrong, and it's sort of unnecessary. You only need to do it for balance, really. Firstly, it's for poise. We call that poise. You're poising your body line. So this looks elegant. This, on the other hand, looks painful, if I'm honest with you, and young. I mean, you can do that when you're 18. It's very difficult to do it when you're 28, like me. But it all depends on what you're trying to achieve. I mean, like all things, certainly in competition, I think everybody's getting further and further away from each other. But of course, when you put speed into that, or when you put any sort of force, here we go with the physics again. So, you know, if I hold a bag of shopping over here, it gets heavy really quickly. If I hold it in here, I can hold it for much longer. And that's the principle, really. If the lady's head's stuck over there and I'm stuck over here and we're dancing like this is difficult. This is hard work. This makes the whole thing very dynamic, I grant you, but wow, I mean the pressure is enormous, especially if you're putting speed in. It's like what's that thing at the fairground? Is it not the Wurlitzer, but that one there where everything gets pushed out with centrifugal force or centripetal force? It all goes whoosh, so it's, oh my cracky Moses, it's so heavy. So there's a lot of that going on, but you know, if you do it well and you do it and you make it look easy, it looks very dynamic, it looks fantastic. But again, if it hurts, come in a little bit. It's just tremendous. I mean, you know, what the older one gets, the less one is concerned about how far the head can touch the floor, as long as you make it all look beautiful. So yeah, it's you know, there you are. In the old days, of course, the lady used to be quite close, and then as time goes on, everything sort of expands. Right, there's the weave. We've done a lot. We've got a little bit technical today, haven't we? Anna, do you mind? Of course I'm trying to. And the line posture is so important, and the lines says Deborah, and you're absolutely right. Posture is everything, really. Like all these things, the better you get, as you all are getting marvellous now. The posture is massively important, because the better the posture, the better the balance, better the poise, and then you can achieve more. You can turn better with better balance, just like that. And everything else is much easier. The hold becomes easier, everything is a bit easier, and then you can do the correct amount of turns. Let's just go over this step one more time. So boys, right foot, here we are. Left foot forward, turning. Right foot to the backwards here. Left foot back, right foot back, left foot either in promenade or step to the side to start again into another variation. Ladies, you're going right foot forward in promenade, you're doing the big turn. You do a big turn here and then you do another turn there. 2 steps. And then you step forward, as we discussed in CBMP, bonjour, and then we step forward with the left foot and then we come out either in promenade or come out to the side. Now you'll notice my head there. When I'm in promenade position, my head turns to the right for the lady. When I'm in closed position, my head turns to the left. And those are the only 2 positions, girls, you need to ever worry about. Either in promenade position or closed position. And whether you're in promenade or closed will determine what your head's doing. Whenever you're turning, you're ever doing some sort of turning variation, pivots, which we'll do at some stage, here like this, your head's always going to be to the left. You don't want to be doing pivots with your head the wrong way, girls, because that will make you feel very sick. And boys, you never look to the right, ever. You might have a little glance at your beautiful partner, and then you'll come out, but you're never going to look to the right. Disaster. You never want that. So boys, you're either in closed position or promenade position. So you've got a slight bit more turn in the head if you're in promenade position. Is that all right? Is that not too bad? I love that's marvellous. The weave. Now next time we do waltz, we'll have a look. We'll have a look maybe at doing an entry into that with an open impetus or something like that. We'll have a look at what we've done in the past, and we'll probably add this into something. Lee, I hope I wasn't speaking too quickly. I really like to get a bit excited. I want to cram so much in that sometimes I think I speak a bit too quickly and people can't understand what I'm saying. But I hope that was not the case today. Much love, everybody. Thank you very much indeed. Brilliant. Waltz, weave, cracked it. Tick that one off. See you at 3 if you can make it for something. Probably a bit unpleasant, but we'll enjoy ourselves nonetheless. But we're in it together. If not, I'll see you in the morning. Community tab, don't forget, on the channel, press the button, and the poll is going of your dancers, the choice of dance that you'd like to do. If there's something else you want to do, fire it in as well. Just let me know, whatever you want to do. These classes are for you. Whatever you want to do, let me know. If it's something we haven't done, brilliant. If it's something I can do, even better. Much love. See you at 3. If not, see you in the morning. Look after yourselves.